Hello friends, welcome. I'm Commissar Marek and today we are going to be making another video about Season 3, essentially inspired by Spirit of the Laws video, and this one is going to be about top 10 things in Season 3 that we all hate. And thanks for the suggestion to Music Fan 1558, who again suggested this video concept, as this is again a video that is kind of similar to what Spirit of the Law did for Age of Empires 2, but we are obviously going to do that for Season 3 instead. Just as a quick disclaimer, I don't suggest that none of these things should be changed in any way. Usually the things that make us angry are due to our own stupidity or, foolishness or being forgetful. So a lot of these things can and will be prevented by most players. It's just that sometimes these things happen even to the best of us. Sort of akin to, as Spirit of the Law pointed out, holes in walls in Age of Empires 2, for example. It happens to the best of us, and we hate it each time it happens, because then all the resources invested into the walls are basically wasted and the enemies just, go into your base. So in scope of Season 3, what we'll start with as the first offender is going to be when we forget to disable Vine in the markets. So we have a nice blood block here, everything's nice and dandy, we've got some healthy unemployment, and all of a sudden, oh no, I have patricians. And that is very, very bad. It is not good. So suddenly your city drops by a whole bunch of population, and these small villas really are not good enough to, give you any sort of tax income. So unless you have to make them, it's usually the worst, and it can be prevented by using the proper settings in the markets. Next on the list, number 2, is when we just casually build up our city, and then suddenly, oh no, what is this noise? Well, it is the natives, because you've built something on their territory and you didn't realize it. And so now they're gonna go ham on the city. So, again, happens to the best of us, but it's annoying every single time it happens. Number 3 is when we get a gladiator uprising and one of the gladiators saps into the aqueduct, and then our whole city runs out of water. It is way worse on maps that have interconnected blocks that all rely on one water source, and in that case you could face substantial difficulties, as the whole city can basically depopulate at the same time when it's cut. Not just that, but also due to how it works in the game, when there's an enemy nearby, even as a corpse before it disappears, you cannot rebuild anything near them, and so it forces you to wait even if you've dealt with the threat until your block turns into a massive mess. Number 4 is when you forget to set your troops to go back to fort, and suddenly you realize, oh no, I left them in the field and they are now on very poor morale, while there is another invasion coming into the city at the same time. And that's probably one of the worst feelings that there is. I would definitely not say this is something I ever enjoy, but it certainly is something I have had happen to me at least on several occasions before. Number 5 is when you forget to praise Neptune on map where you have a lot of fishing or trading through sea. And that can happen really quickly and suddenly when you did not build enough small temples and suddenly all your ships are now sunk. Number 6. I don't have an example of this, but it is something that you've surely experienced before if you build nice and efficient blocks like 22x6. When you build something like a school or bathhouse usually, and covers the whole block without any issues. Then you build something around it, and suddenly, even though you did not tinker with any of the road layouts that are connected to it, this school will suddenly stop covering like half of the block. And without any seemingly reason, that tends to happen. I've explained why this happens in a video that's on the channel. I will put it up if I find it. And there's a way to prevent it, or at least know what's causing it. But we've all been there at least once. When you play on a desert map and you've only built one prefect, or you built several, but your crime caused your prefects to get delayed and now you have fire in your city, even though normally this would be fine if you didn't play on a desert. Earthquakes. Yes, just earthquakes. Also when earthquake specifically hits a monument or when it cuts off the city completely. We've all seen it happen before. There are some maps that do it. Usually it's not good, and there's no real way to fight it. It's a force of nature, really. And well, something to be said about earthquakes. I haven't explained it on the channel before, but earthquakes actually have several variations, and if you load and reload the save, it will be different, and there are only like, I don't know, 16 variations, so you could potentially see all of them if you reload it often enough, and then, you know, you could make sure that, for example, it does not happen in a specific way that cuts off something important if you are a map maker. But otherwise, for a player, it's always such a nerve-wracking experience seeing the earthquake message pop up, and then also, you know, seeing it actually go slowly and until it reaches something of importance in the city. Wolves. Specifically, wolves eating your immigrants on maps that the wolves start in open ground and not enclosed, and you did not find all the packs and you didn't wall them in. Well, so that's how vanilla campaign works. Most custom maps will enclose wolves so that they guard an area, for example, but if they are let loose at the start, there's only one way to deal with them really, and that is entomb them with walls and then, you know, kill them with towers or your military when you build it up. Getting invaded by Caesar. I think we all hate it, and it happened to the best of us at least once. You know how painful it is when Caesar's legion arrives to completely destroy your city, and especially if you didn't notice your favor dipping and it's a sudden drop. Next up, we will cover honorable mentions. And the first honorable mention that I will have to cover is actually something of my own inception, and it is Maroks, as they often prevent you from placing the perfect Grand Temple or other structures that are large on custom maps. When immigrants don't merge houses properly and they populate in such a way that it creates one-by-ones. We probably all know what this is about, and there are ways to prevent it, of course. I've shown it on channel before, but it is often the case that people just can't be bothered to really do their job and merge properly when you just carpet down housing like this. Another honorable mention is going to be when you place a prefect or engineer on your line blocks in your industry or farming areas, and the prefect or engineer just refuses to go that one extra tile to cover whatever's on the end of the line. This of course can be prevented by having the services on the very end and securing it, but we've all been there and it's annoying. Anyways, that's gonna be it from me for this quick video. It is relatively fast and simple. You've surely experienced other frustrating things in the game. I will include an honorable mention, which is in Augustus specifically, when you lose a cart depot due to fire or collapse or, you know, enemies destroying it, and you don't remember what settings you set it as a source and destination, and your city is sprawling. It can be extremely infuriating to figure out what this depot was doing when you've built it like, you know, an hour and a half ago. So that's an honorable mention from me, and I thank you for watching the video. See you around. Bye.